What does that mean to elevate ourselves? Let me explain to you what I mean. You see, each one of us are born with very specific set of nature, right? You are born, whether you believe in the mazalot, whether you believe it's just your DNA, right? We have certain midot, we have certain traits that define us, and some of them are inescapable, right? Some of us get angry very quickly, we get frustrated, we get anxiety, whatever it is, right? Those are things we're just born with. Now, this is a very difficult idea for most people today to kind of internalize, but it shouldn't be for you guys. Are you defined by your emotions? Do your emotions define who you are? If I'm feeling angry, does that mean I should be angry? If I'm super hyper and excited, does that expression of my emotion, should that determine my reaction to the circumstance I find myself in? Or is it something different? Or am I meant to be someone whose intellect is defining the reality and the response that they're in? Right? This is a Jewish principle. Right? There's a famous story of this is Rabbi Yaakov Kanievsky. This is the Steipler Gaon, Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky's father. There was a man who comes to him and says to him, Rabbi, I have crazy anger issues, and I'm about to lose my wife, my kids, my family, my job, out of control. So he says to him, okay, he's like, I can help you. He's like, I can heal you. He's like, really? He's like, how? He's like, I'm going to do it like this. You have to look at me, okay? Don't avert your eyes from looking at me the whole time. We're going to start in a minute. He's like, look at me and don't turn away. So he says, okay, I'll look at you. What are you going to do? So anyway, the rabbi starts making all these angry faces, like, and like starts making like all these like anger, emotive faces at him. And he says to him, like, Rabbi, what are you doing? It's been like 8 minutes of you making like these weird faces at me. So he says, I want to show you what you look like when you're angry. You look crazy. What are you doing? He's like, before you get angry, look in the mirror and see what your anger is causing, right? Think about what you're doing. The midah that we're supposed to be working on right now is the fact that there's supposed to be a measured response in how we respond to the world around us, right? The barley offering is an offering for animals. The wheat offering is what we bring on Shavuot, is for bread. We bring chalvot, right? That is for human beings. We want to transcend the animal nature and ascend to being something called an Adam. The Vilna Gaon says there are 5 different words that are used to express man. You have the word Adam. You have the word you have the word Gever. You have the word Enosh. You have the word Ben Adam and Ish. And he says those 5 descriptions of man represent 5 different tiers of a human being. Adam being the lowest from the earth, and Ish being the highest, coming from the word Esh, the fire, the flame. Why is Ish considered to be the greatest expression of man? Well, let's think about fire for a minute, right? Fire is something that is consuming all the time, right? Consumption, constant consumption, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends, right? If I was in a constant state of consumption, it would be a very, very bad thing, right? But if I'm consuming for the sake of returning and giving back, right? Is that a bad consumption? Why am I taking? If I'm taking to give, if I'm going out to make money and give back, if I'm building beautiful homes so I could, we moved from Brooklyn to Whitmere. This is 2 years ago. It was a very hard decision. We spent 2.5 years with an architect figuring out how to legally get every single inch into that house. Basement, glass rooms, attics that are going to collapse and expand somehow. Every single kind of, legal shtick I could find, I figured it out. It took me 2.5 years to do it. We were November 14th, 2019, right? We were on a Rage Shabbat. That was the last time I was on a Shabbaton with Rage, right? Right before COVID. We're at a Shabbaton, and we're staying at the Rahmanis, which is where my neighbors right now. And they're like, you're crazy. Don't knock your house down. Don't do it. But the whole world could go crazy in a minute. So many things could go wrong. Don't bother doing it. Just buy the house next door. The guy's been selling it forever. He's like, you'll get a great deal on it. It needs absolutely no work, and just move in. It's a move-in condition. You'll be great. So I said to my wife, we move out of Brooklyn. She's like, friends, this, that. I'm like, okay, we'll go take a look at it. So we take a look at it. She fell in love. We made an offer, and they accepted it, and that was the beginning of an amazing journey, right? I'm sharing this because sometimes you have to be willing to let go, right? The reason why she wanted that house is because she could get more bedrooms in that house than the house we were building in Brooklyn.
You're moving back, right?
What's that?
You're letting go and moving back.
I don't know. She's actually considering moving back now that my son who's getting engaged might be moving to Brooklyn, so she's actually considering it. But we'll see. I just go wherever my wife tells me to go. So we end up. She says she wants this house not because of its size. She wants the house because she's constantly always trying to figure out where she could host all of our guests when we were living here, and it was almost impossible to find beds for people, right? And she wanted a place where she could just house people and not worry about it. So she has 9 bedrooms in that house, right? We never have a problem finding housing for anyone because between my house, my neighbor's house, my other neighbor's house, like I have a Shabbaton right there, 4 houses, right? Unbelievable, right? That's all she wanted. She got this house because she wants to be able to give back. It's okay to take, to consume. That's what an ish is. An ish is a human being that is able to take, to take fuel, turn it into light, turn it into heat and energy, and give back to the world and make it something so profound, right? But how does that work with our relationships with each other? You look at this room, there's a nice cross-section of different kinds of people in here. More observant, less observant, interested, not so interested, not sure yet, figuring it out, and so on and so forth, right? The way in which we as Jews build a healthy future for ourselves is through something called achdut, through unity, right? It's through something called achieving oneness. And we see this as follows. And this is the precursor, by the way, for Matan Torah. It says, V'yisum Refidim, the verse in Shemot and Exodus says, that the Jewish people journeyed from a place called Refidim. V'yavo midbar Sinai. They came to the Midbar Sinai desert. V'yachnu b'midbar. And they encamped in the desert. And the word over there, v'yachnu, is in plural. And then it says, V'yichan sham Yisrael neged har. And the Jewish people encamped there in the singular before the mountain. So the sages ask, why is it switched? What's it called over here? Why is it switched from the singular to the plural to the singular? So Rashi says the reason why it switches, V'yichan sham Yisrael. I haven't heard that in a long time. V'yichan sham Yisrael ki ish echad belev echad. When the Jewish people were able to achieve this state called ki ish echad belev echad, not ki adam echad, ki ish echad. When we reach the state of becoming individuals who understood that the purpose of life is that I can take from the physical world around me in order to give back to humanity, to make the world a better, greater place, when we got that kind of clarity, that is what allowed us to be able to receive this thing called the Torah, the instruction manual for life. That is when we were able to build this relationship where Am Yisrael said, they were able to point up and say, wow, there's God, right? That kind of clarity only comes from unity, my friends. We are mourning the fact this is a result of, the mourning of Rabbi Akiva's students. 24,000 students who missed this message. How do you miss that message? But it's so easy to lose yourself in a world of spirituality where you're so engrossed in the study and so engrossed in the thinking and connecting to this massive infinite source, and you lose yourself. But God created a world with humanity in it so that you could find godliness. How do you find godliness in humanity? You got to remember that each person in this room was created b'tselem Elokim, in the image of the Almighty. There's a lot of people who passed away recently. Zachariah Wallerstein was one of them. He was a very interesting person, a very special person. I had the privilege of knowing him for quite some time. And I remember many years ago, as I was in Israel as a student, and one of my rabbi passed away, and I was going with him to the funeral. And on the way to the funeral, I said to him, Rabbi, just curious, this is a little insensitive, the question, I thought. Looking back, I think it's insensitive. But I was just curious. I said to him, if Jews believe that when someone dies, they go to heaven, why are we mourning at the funeral? We should be throwing a party, have a siyum. Make a siyum, make a kiddush, bring out shawarmas and vodkas, and let's make a party out of it. So he said to me, Reuven, he's at the very least you could understand that bottom line is we miss someone. They're no longer here. So I said, I hear that. But he said something else to me which I loved. He said that every single person in this world has a unique ability to express godliness in their unique way. It's something that they can do and that no one else in the world can do. Each person sitting in this room has a special power of reflecting God's light into this world in their unique way that no one else in the world can do. And then one of the things that we're mourning, aside from the loss of that person, is the fact that expression of godliness is no longer here. And then the question we ask ourselves, well, what are we doing to bring that light, that expression of godliness in the world. How do we express godliness in this world? Does anyone know? What does that mean? What does that look like? You know how you express godliness in this world? By being a mensch, by being normal, by being respectful, by loving your parents, by feeling gratitude, by standing up and taking initiative when no one else wants to take initiative. That's how you express godliness in the world. Because we come from a world that's just Darwinism, right? It's might makes right, right? Survival of the fittest. That's the world that I want to be a part of. No, that's not the world I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of a world where I believe in humanity's ability to recognize every single person's strengths, to recognize that we all have strengths and weaknesses, but it's irrelevant because bottom line is we have one thread that unites us, that we are the children of God. That every single person here has something profound to contribute. Every single person here has a unique mission. Every single person here can make a difference. But if you live in a world where it's only about you, where you're only thinking about yourself, your definition of religiosity, your expression of Judaism, your way of looking at it, you're not open to learning from people, you're not open to asking questions from the people around you, you're not willing to learn, you are no different than Rabbi Shimon and his son in the cave, coming out and burning the world. So, what do we do on Lag BaOmer? We stop all the morning, we have all these festivities, and remembering the fact that Rabbi Shimon was able to transcend this lower part of himself, right? It's something much more profound, much more balanced, much more healthy, much more malleable, much more digestible, palatable for us. Because there's no question that every single one of us has this ability to connect to God. 100%, you have a powerful connection to the Borei Olam, and there's a journey there. The Torah is your guidebook. It's going to tell you how to get there. It tells you how to find all of it. But if you're not willing to see the greatness in humanity, you're always going to be disconnected from God. You can't find God if you can't find the beauty in the people around you. It's not an accident if you're a healthy religious person that you're also generally a very giving, kind person. You're someone who loves to help out. You're someone like, I live in a community of people who you make a phone call and say, can you host a bunch of Russian kids from some other community? Like how many can I take? Right? This is a weird thing. Your home is the most private space in the world. Right? Why would you share that with strangers? You're sharing that with strangers because those hosts understand the beauty and the power of connecting to people. I'm hoping that excuse me. I'm hoping that each of you, thanks. I'm hoping that each of you walk away with the following idea. You walk away with the idea that you, my friends, can become an ish, right? That the more united you are in this group, thank you so much. I made a bracha earlier, just so that you know.
It's okay, everyone at their level.
Actually, it's halakha. If you don't know that you made a bracha, you got to tell the group that you made a bracha. So that not any of the things. Anyway. So, my hope, my blessing to each of you, as you walk away from tonight with the clarity and understanding that you are a spiritual nuclear power plant of infinite potential. That you have the power of uniting the people around you, that you have the power of doing great things, you have the power of connecting with the people around you and amplifying your ability of connecting and helping the people. The Rage mission is still very much important to me. I've said this to everyone here, and I'm saying it publicly again. If I can do anything ever for anyone here at any level, I'm happy to do it. Happy to be anywhere. But I also always believed, and we've spoken about, Ronnie and I have spoken a lot about this many, many years ago, is that the only way Rage has a future is if the people that graduated from Rage felt a deep sense of responsibility to give back to it. And that ultimately, that if we created all this, the classes, the rabbis, trips, Shabbatons, the experiences, speakers, connections, we did all that. I mean, marriage, I just did my 500th wedding back there, but I just married a couple in this house, by the way, you know that? Wow. I just married this couple right over here. Right, Mason and Margarita just got married back there. This is the wedding document right here, and I just married them in the back. You guys are sleeping. I'm marrying people, right? You take their pictures and everything. Anyway, so these are my witnesses. Right? We if you were unable to walk away with, the feeling of gratitude for everything that these people have done for us, then we failed you as a community. Rage failed if we were unable to inspire its alumni to get up and feel a sense of indebtedness and gratitude to give back. How do you do that? There's 1,000 ways to give back. You could ask Rebecca, you could ask Rabbi Sid, you could ask Rabbi Golds, you could come and ask me, ask Ronnie. We all have, ask Dr. Faye. There's 1,000 ways to give back. And I want you to know, right? I'm going to get a little apocalyptic on you, right? As we're nearing these interesting times in history, okay? Wars in Ukraine, the world, it's a crazy time in history. And what we learned over the last 2.5 years, at least what I learned over the last 2.5 years, the world can change very quickly, right? I never thought I would live in a country where toilet paper would run out. Like, that was something that didn't happen in Russia. Like, not here. Can you imagine? Like, there's like lines of people buying toilet paper. That was 2 years ago. There was toilet paper craze. People are going crazy for toilet paper, right? And now there's a shortage of baby formula in this country. Like, does that mean that they're restricting how much formula you could buy per family? That's insane. Like, this is 2022. We shouldn't be dealing with these things anymore. Like, how is that our reality? But all of this is teaching me that the world changes very quickly. But there's one constant, and that's us, and how we respond to our circumstances. I can't change what happens with Putin and his war in Ukraine. I can't change the war, but I could change my response. I could donate. I could get up. I have students at Safra that actually flew out to Ukraine, to the border, and help refugees like just escape and just like get into like out of the country and so on and so forth. There's 1,000 things you can do. I'm not saying you have to go that far, but you can do things. You have so much power. You have more power than you could possibly imagine. You, my friends, are Russian American Jews. You are the most powerful group of Jews on the planet. The only thing that you are lacking is like General Schwarzkopf after 9/11. They asked him, they said, where was the failure in intelligence in America? You know what he said? He's like, there was no failure of intelligence. He's like, it was a failure in our imagination. We knew everything. We just couldn't imagine. Your weakness is not believing in your potential. Believe, and we can accomplish anything together. Thank you so much for having me, everybody.
Guys, enjoy this. Some dessert, some food. We're still hanging out. We don't have money.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just know.
I didn't see it. I saw someone there. I didn't see who it was. How are you? Thank God. I want to see the movie. I should have worked it out. Thank you so much.